Love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. This is Jesus speaking to his followers during what will be known as the Sermon on the Mount. Imagine hearing these words for the first time. Love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. These words challenge everything they've been taught. An enemy isn't just someone who disagrees with you, it's someone who actively seeks to harm you. And yet, here is Jesus, calmly telling people to love them. The people listening to Jesus knew what it was like to have enemies. They lived under Roman rule, soldiers who could take whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. Their hearts burned with hatred, and revenge seemed like the only option. But Jesus wasn't offering revenge. He was offering something radical: love. If you love only those who love you, what reward will you get? Even the tax collectors do that. But I tell you, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Pray for those who hurt you. Imagine their shock. Love your enemies? Pray for them? It sounded impossible, unfair even. But Jesus wasn't saying, ignore the pain or pretend everything is okay. He was pointing to a bigger truth, that love, not hate, has the power to change the world. And now, centuries later, those words still challenge us. How do you love someone who cuts you off, insults you, or hurts you? How do you forgive when you've been deeply wronged? Jesus is walking with his disciples, teaching them as they pass through a field. They ask questions, confused. Disciple, but what if someone hits us? Do we just let them? Jesus, if someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other also. If someone forces you to carry their pack 1 mile, carry it 2. The disciples exchange bewildered glances, struggling to understand. Jesus wasn't asking them to be weak. He was asking them to be strong, strong enough to rise above the cycle of hate and retaliation. Love wasn't a sign of defeat. It was the ultimate act of courage. Jesus praying in a garden, the weight of his mission heavy on his shoulders. Later, Jesus would live out his own teaching in the most profound way. When his enemies arrested him, mocked him, and nailed him to a cross, he didn't respond with hatred. Instead, he prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing." Back to the modern day. A woman forgives someone who wronged her. A young man helps a former rival. A child extends kindness to a bully. This kind of love isn't easy. It takes strength, humility, and faith. But Jesus believed it was the only way to truly break the cycle of hate. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Matthew 5:44. It's not about ignoring justice or letting people walk all over you. It's about choosing love over hate and hope over despair. Jesus believed love could change the world. The question is, do we?